Welcome back, adventurers. Picture this. It's sunrise at Emerald Bay. The water looks like glass, the pines smell like fresh air, and you might just have the overlook to yourself, if you show up early. For another 10 minutes though, the parking lot will remind you how rare solitude really is here. In this video, I'm giving you a 3-day quest around Lake Tahoe, plus a bonus video day with everything you actually care about. The best months to visit, how to dodge the crowds, what permits you need, and what kind of vehicle survives the winter. If you like clear, no-nonsense trip planning, hit the subscribe button below. Before we dive in, I'm not sponsored by any brands mentioned in the making of this video. The content used in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. All rights to the images, music clips, and other materials used belong to their respective owners. I do not claim any ownership of any third-party content used. Think of this as a little quest. Outsmart the crowds, earn those iconic views, and then cap it all off with a quieter reward of Bernie and McCloud Falls. Now let's start where Lake Tahoe still feels raw and rustic, but only if you know how to beat the morning chaos. South Lake Tahoe, where the casinos, castles, and crowds begin. South Lake Tahoe comes to you with a very different rhythm, one defined by bright casino lights, busy streets, and surprising cultural landmarks stitched right into the shoreline. This is the side of Lake Tahoe where the crowds are norm, nightlife hums late into the evening, and the famous mix of entertainment and mountain scenery sets it apart from the quieter north. It's no wonder this part of Tahoe gets its nickname, casinos, castles, and crowds. At the center of the town looms the Heavenly Mountain Gondola, rising straight from the strip of the hotels and casinos. It pulls you out of the traffic and into an alpine landscape in minutes. The views from the top are wide open, stretching across the lake and deep into the Sierra. It's the summer attraction. While the ride is undeniably scenic, expect to pay a significant fee for a ticket. Crowds fly here throughout the season, so pricing and hours change. Always check Heavenly's official site before adding it to your plans. But I will tell you right now, the views from up there are incredible. Though all the rides and other experiences on top of the mountain are also quite expensive. So do check prices before you go. The wild contrast of South Lake Tahoe stands out most when you turn away from the casinos and make for the Emerald Bay State Park. The parking area here is one of the most in-demand lots around, and spaces fill shortly after sunrise, even on ordinary weekdays. Early arrival isn't a suggestion, it's the only way you're gonna get an actual spot. The payoff comes at the end of a short but steep trail that winds down from the overlook to the water's edge. Most hikers complete the out and back in about an hour, depending on photo stops, and the reward is one of Lake Tahoe's most unexpected landmarks. Viking's Home looks like something teleported from Scandinavia. Stone walls, carved details, and a lakeside setting that feels almost surreal in California's Sierra Nevada. Built in 1929, the castle isn't just a curiosity, it's a preserved piece of cultural history recognized as a National Historic Landmark. Visitors can roam the exterior for free year-round, but guided interior tours operate only in summer months for a small fee. Tour schedules and ticketing are announced by the Sierra State Parks and Emerald Bay Visitor Services, so it's worth checking out before you commit your time here. Beyond the castle, side trails branch out with other rewards. Lower Eagle Falls plunges nearby, its peak flow roaring during the spring melt, while Upper Eagle Falls offers a longer climb with more sweeping viewpoints. Both trails connect deeper into the desolation wilderness, where the alpine lakes and the granite terrain extend for miles. If you go this route, remember one key requirement. Desolation wilderness permits are mandatory, even for day hikes. Day use is free and self-issued at the trailhead kiosks, but overnight trips require advanced reservations and fees throughout the recreation.gov website. Practical details at Emerald Bay help balance the heavy visitation. Restrooms sit at the parking area, overlook platforms allow non-hikers to see some of the views, and in the summer, a water refill station may operate near the trailhead. Food, however, is not an option here. You'll need to pack snacks and head back to South Lake Tahoe afterward. The main strip has everything from burger cafes to crowded steakhouses, giving you plenty of places to refuel once you're done with the trails. The contrast of South Lake Tahoe really comes into focus at Emerald Bay. On one hand, the area buzzes with some intensity as the town itself crowds lots, people streaming down from the trail, and traffic backed up on Highway 89. On the other hand, Viking's Home sets you down in a quiet moment of history where the lake and its actual cultural layers coexist. Arrive at daybreak and you can experience the bay before the crowds descend, with calm water and the castle slowly catching up at first light. Miss that window and you'll swap peaceful trails for long waits and overflow parking along the highway. Do be careful when parking on the highway. There are areas where parking is not allowed and your vehicle will be towed. That mix of rowdy casinos, a historic Scandinavian castle, and access to deeper wilderness defines the southern half of Lake Tahoe. It reminds you that this isn't just a mountain town, it's a crossroads of recreation, history, and consistent energy. For many visitors, Emerald Bay becomes the emotional centerpiece of this southern shore, where the heroes of journeys pay off with both views and history. But if you're hungry for something longer, South Lake Tahoe is also the gateway to one of the most ambitious trails anywhere around the lake. Imagine miles of shoreline, granite cliffs, and water so close it feels like you could step right into it. That's where the adventure continues. The Rubicon Quest, Lake Tahoe's ultimate coastline hike. The Rubicon Trail is often called the ultimate Tahoe coastline hike, and for good reason. Stretching about 10 miles between D.O. Bliss State Park and Emerald Bay, its route gives you the consistent front row view to the lake's western shore. The path dips, climbs, and hugs cliffs so close to the water that you'll see boats drifting directly below. It's a bucket list hike for visitors and locals alike, one that feels both challenging and approachable if you plan it right. Here's the critical decision. Are you going to hike the whole thing or take a smarter approach? Unless you have a prearranged transport, the full 10 miles out and back means doubling back on every step. The smart move is staging 2 cars, drop one at Emerald Bay, then start at Bliss. That way you end your hike walking straight into the second car instead of tacking on extra enthusiasm on the return. There's no official shuttle, so without this trick, you're committing to a long 10-mile haul. Starting from D.O. Bliss does have its advantages. After paying for the day use fee, around $10 per vehicle, you roll straight into some of the trail's most celebrated views. The first 2 miles out of Bliss Pass, Lester Beach, and Callaway Cove. Quiet shoreline access points and calm blue water, and some of the best early morning lights on the western shore. If you're short on time or just want the highlights, this stretch alone delivers more than enough drama. Think of it as one of the half value rules. If you're here for photos and possible lake dip, stick to the first 2 to 4 miles. If you want the full arc of the trail, line up 2 cars and commit to about 6 hours. The terrain itself isn't technical, but it isn't flat either. Expect steady rolling sections and a few steeper climbs. Over the length of the trail, once you face several cumulative ups and downs, you can leave even seasoned hikers tired. But people describe it as moderate, something that anyone with basic fitness can complete, but not something to underestimate in the summer heat. As always, on any trail, carry plenty of water, snacks, and plan for sun exposure along the cliffside section. Sturdy shoes are a must, especially where the rocks are narrow and there are steep drop-offs. The views consistently shift. One bend has you perched high above turquoise water with granite walls falling below. Around another curve, you'll find a quiet cove that tempts you to scramble down for a quick swim. Further south, the first side of Emerald Bay appears, with its distinctive roofline of Viking's home peeking out of the trees. These moments make the Rubicon less about raw mileage and more about slowing down for the details. Expect frequent camera breaks. You'll find plenty of reasons to stop here. Logistics matter as much as your stamina does. Parking is limited at both ends of DL Bliss. In particular, it has a gate that closes once the lots are full. In peak summer, it can happen before 9 a.m. Emerald Bay lots often fill too early, leaving drivers parking along Highway 89 and stretching the day with extra roadside walking. The best strategy is to arrive early. Check in California state parks for any alerts or temporary closures. Bliss has a construction shutdowns in recent seasons and confirm the fee details in advance. Restrooms are available at the trailheads, but you won't find facilities once you're on the trail, so plan accordingly. As for hazards, remember that it is still Tahoe backcountry. Black bears are known in the area and are usually shy. Store food securely in your car and carry it in sealed containers on the trail. In summer, mosquitoes and wasps can be irritating near the shaded sections of the coves. Slick granite or uneven footing near the water are also common. Caution pays off here. This is a long hike, and an ankle roll early can turn a day's highlight into a logistical headache. So, though this trail is easy, do proceed with caution so you can make the most out of your trip. Done right, the Rubicon Trail just isn't exercise. No. It's a compressed tour of Lake Tahoe's diverse character. Sheer cliffs, calm beaches, sparkling coves, and historic landmarks, all stitched together in a single shoreline walk. Treat it as a quick in and out, back and forth from Bliss, and you'll still collect the most photogenic spots with the time left for dinner in town. Either way, it earns its reputation as Lake Tahoe's signature hike. That's why it's so important and so critical to cram all this into one day, because the lake itself is so beautiful. It's important that you take some time to appreciate the lake itself. Take yourself a paddleboard or a kayak even, and go out and actually enjoy the water. It is a little cold. Year round it's pretty cold, especially if you come during the winter, which is not recommended. However, if you go out in the summer times, it is really nice to just go out into the water and enjoy it. And while Rubicon showcases the lake at its best, the road north pulls you into a completely different type of spectacle. Trade alpine shorelines for volcanic rock and thundering cascades, where water doesn't just glisten, but roars down in sheets of spray. North Lake Tahoe, this part of the lake is the rustic heart of the journey. Less glitz, fewer crowds, and stronger focus on hiking boots, alpine air, and rugged trails. It's the side where the scenery takes center stage, but if you think this means fewer people fighting for parking, think again. Lots still fill quickly, and if you don't plan ahead, rustic starts to feel more like circling a lot in frustration. The number one trap visitors fall into here is arriving mid-morning and expecting stress-free access. By 10 a.m., the lot at Eagle Falls is usually jammed. Sand Harbor may already be at capacity, and even Dio Bliss State Park closes its gates once the lots fill up. If you're serious about getting a spot without gray hairs, treat arrive before 9 a.m. as the North Lake Tahoe rule of thumb. On weekends, even earlier. It's not glamorous, but it's the only reliable way to start a trail without burning your patience before your calories. A great warm-up hike here is Eagle Lake, reaching from Eagle Falls trailhead off Highway 89. It's short but steep, best thought of as a quick out and back that works well as a morning starter. Most hikers take 1 to 2 hours depending on how many times they stop for photos or catch their breath while pretending it's about the photos. It's doable for most fitness levels with shaded forests, granite cliffs, and classic alpine lake payoff at the end. Important note, if you plan to push beyond Eagle Lake into Desolation Wilderness or camp overnight, you'll need a wilderness permit that we talked about before, which is reserved through the recreation.gov website. Without it, you risk being turned back at a ranger checkpoint, a sure way to end the day early. For a change of pace, Sand Harbor offers a different Lake Tahoe scenery entirely. This path along the shoreline, a flat and under 2 miles, perfect for anyone who wants the views without committing to a climb. This area draws sunbathers, paddleboarders, and families setting up for camp chairs and the sand. You'll find some of Lake Tahoe's most photogenic boulders and clear shallows. Sand Harbor charges a day use or parking fee, but that rate varies by season and by residency. These spaces often require reservations in peak summer. Always check the official Nevada State Parks website before driving out here, or you risk showing up with no options. Season timing makes a huge difference in North Lake Tahoe. Summer looks great in photos, but from July to August, the experience is crowded beaches, packed trailheads, and long waits. If your schedule is flexible, fall, September through November is the sweet spot. The weather turns crisp, traffic eases, and trails quiet down. Winter brings a different beauty entirely, but it's also the most logistically tricky. Roads may close during storms, and many require 4x4 vehicles or approved snow tires. Carrying chains is often required. Don't forget, this is a mountain town. But note that rental car agencies may not allow chain use, leaving you liable for anything that happens. If you're visiting in winter and don't have the right vehicle, rely on official shuttles, hotel transport, or stay put when the storms roll in. It's just about an hour to key trailheads like Eagle Falls and Dio Bliss. A car gives you maximum flexibility, but the Tahoe Truckee Area Regional Transport, also known as TART, offers free buses around the northern shore. Traffic is heavy during peak season, so leaving your car at the hotel and riding the bus can be less stressful. Wildlife rounds out the checklist of what to expect here. Black bears are around, but they're not aggressive and usually pretty shy. But don't feed them unless you really want a hefty fine to round out your trip. On exposed sunny trails, rattlesnakes can appear, so look where you step or place your hands. Marshy sections near streams and shaded trails often swarm with mosquitoes in summer, so pack a reliable repellent. These details may not feel dramatic, but until you're swatting buds mid-hike, then you'll understand. Real draw of North Lake Tahoe. Mornings of quiet trails, alpine lakes that glow in early light, and that chance to feel like you've snuck into one of California's most beautiful corners. Finally, let's talk about the 8th wonder of the world, Bernie Falls. Some destinations earn their reputation on sheer spectacle. Known as the 8th wonder of the world, this 129-foot cascade in MacArthur Bernie Falls Memorial State Park sends more than 100 million gallons of spring-fed water streaming over the volcanic rock every single day. When you first stand at the overlook, the falls don't just look impressive. They surround you in a wall of mist, movement, and sound that photos never quite capture. What makes Bernie Falls so distinctive is its geology. Instead of a single plunge, water seeps through the porous basalt halfway down the cliff, forming dozens of secondary streams that fan out beside the main column and tumble into the pool below. Many people stop at the top of the viewing platform for a quick shot before heading back into their car, but the real payoff comes from taking the trail into the canyon, where each step deepens the roar until you're standing at the base, wrapped in the spray and that feels a lot like rain. The hiking is short, scenic, and manageable for most visitors. The Falls Loop Trail runs about 1 mile and roughly 167 feet of elevation change. Expect to finish it in 45 minutes or less. If hiking isn't an option, there are wheelchair accessible viewpoints near the parking lots to ensure that no one is left out of the experience. Planning for Bernie Falls requires a few practical details. The park entrance fee is about $10 per vehicle paid at the gate or automated kiosks. The campsites run about $35 per night and include one vehicle with additional cars charged at about $10 each. The campground has 121 sites plus 42 rustic cabins that provide shelter but no electricity or running water. So bring lanterns or bedding if you choose that option. There's a lot more to see within this park than just Bernie Falls, so if it's something you want to add into your adventure, I highly recommend it. Crowds are the norm in peak season. Parking lots fill pretty quick by mid-morning, so you may find yourself parking at a trailhead and walking down. Once capacity is reached, cars are turned away until the space reopens later in the day. The safest way is, again, to arrive early in the morning or return after 4 p.m. When turnover is more likely, the park also has strict rules about vehicle size. Anything over 32 feet in length is not permitted. Do not attempt to park along Highway 89 either. You risk both the ticket and the tow that we mentioned earlier. Water safety deserves extra emphasis. The pool at the base looks like an inviting spot for a swim, but the water stays near about 42 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, and currents can be deceptively strong. The recommendation isn't subtle. Admire it from the shore. Wading is safer only in calm side areas away from the plunge, and even then, caution is smart. A cold shock and strong pull from the wrong spot is not a souvenir anyone wants to take home. However, many visitors here brave the water and dive into what would be a polar plunge. Wildlife and rules add a few more notes for visitors, such as pets are allowed only in the campground, on paved roads, and in parking areas. They are not permitted on the trails, to the falls, or inside day use areas, so plan ahead if you're traveling with your companions. Seasonal timing sharpens the experience. From April through to early summer, snowmelt boosts the flow into something close to overwhelming. In autumn, golden leaves even frame the canyon in color. When in winter, the access may be limited and temperatures drop. Mist rising against the frosted pines gives Bernie its own dramatic look, and the falls flow steadily year-round thanks to the underground springs that feed the system, which means no matter when you visit, you'll see water moving in force. Because there aren't many restaurants or gas stations nearby, you're better off packing your own food. The closest town to Bernie itself is just a short drive south, where you'll find small diners, a grocery store, and fuel. Inside the park, picnic tables under tall pines make an easy spot for packed lunches once you're done with the loop. It's that mix, easy access, and constant flow of rare beauty that explains why people compare it to the world-class Cascades. But Bernie isn't the final act in this region. Just a short drive south on Highway 89 is another set of falls that waits with its own twist. 3 separate drops in one canyon linked together in a single afternoon adventure. Welcome McCloud Falls, the 3 cascades in one canyon. The river flows through the pine forest, before breaking into 3 distinct drops. You have the lower, middle, and the upper falls. Each has its own parking area for those short on time, but the most complete way to experience them is by hiking the McCloud River Trail. This loop runs about 4 miles round trip, climbs roughly about 500 feet in total, and links all 3 cascades into one steady outing. The trail is rated easy to moderate, making it accessible for a wide range of hikers, and the paved segments between the lower falls and the Fowler campground is ADA friendly, allowing strollers and wheelchairs. Lower Falls is the smallest in stature, but the most approachable. A short paved path leads from one directly into the riverbank, where the water slips over the smooth rock in a large pool below. In summer, these become popular swimming spots, and if you have young ones with you, it's highly recommended. It feels welcoming, shaded, and family-friendly with picnic tables. Keep in mind, the Lower Falls jumping spots have shifted underwater boulders. Exercise caution and make sure you're looking before you jump. The river changes constantly as well, so what looks like a perfect cliff jump one summer may be a hazard the next. If swimming, test the depth slowly and avoid slick rocks, which can often be unpredictable in strong underground currents. Heading upstream, Middle Falls steals the show at nearly 50 feet wide, and honestly, probably my favorite. It fans across the basalt cliffs like a sheet with white water spilling from the forest above. From the overlook, near the parking lot, you can watch the full curtain of water crash into the canyon pool below. For many, the better choice is walking the spur that drops down the Fowler campground. This trail is short, less than a mile to the base, and uses gradual switchbacks descending into the amphitheater. In 10 minutes, you're at the river level, surrounded by towering walls and mist that drifts up into every surge of water. The pool here draws swimmers as well, though submerged boulders and shifting currents demand the caution that the Lower Falls did as well. Many visitors simply sit along the rocks to take in the view, recognizing this is a dramatic centerpiece of the system. Further along the canyon, the trail climbs up again and you'll reach the Upper Falls. This drop is taller and more forceful, channeling the McCloud River through the sudden narrowing before it launches over a 30-foot ledge. The viewing platform above offers a direct line into the spray, unlike the lower and the middle. This also isn't a swimming spot, strictly a viewing stop, more spectacle than play area. The steady roar mutes conversation, making it one of the most immersive sections of the hike before you circle back into the trailhead. In spring, the area surrounding Fowler Camp unfolds with wildflowers and shrubs, dogwoods, honeysuckle, mountain ash, and spirea. Summer, on the other hand, brings heat. Temperatures here often climb past 90 degrees, so carry more water than you think you'll need, especially if attempting the full loop. Wildlife is common in this area. Deer often move through the trees, while smaller hazards like rattlesnakes sun themselves on the warm rocks. Watch your footing near ledges and always wear reliable shoes. Parking at each lot is free with basic facilities. You'll find restrooms and trash bins in some of the locations. With picnic tables scattered near lower and mid falls, this makes it easy to tailor your stop. Whether it's a 20-minute visit to the Middle Falls, an afternoon swim in the lower, or a full 3-tier hike along your canyon rim, McCloud Falls offers something for everybody. There's no booth or gate, no fixed fee, and the lack of oversight means it's important to pack out waste and respect the space, especially since this is one of the most accessible natural sites in the Shasta region. So here's the decision point. Tahoe splits 3 ways. North gives you alpine calm and early morning discipline. South stacks icons, nightlife, and energy. In just a few hours, Bernie and McCloud add waterfalls that show a different ecosystem altogether. It's all in one trip, but the vibe changes with every stop. 3 must-dos before you go. Check Desolation Wilderness Permit rules on recreation.gov if you're planning an overnight. Confirm day use fees and possible capacity closures for Sand Harbor and MacArthur Bernie on the official park pages. And if winter travel is in play, have a 4x4 or chains ready and understand your rentals chain policy. I'd love to hear from you if you had to pick. Would it be solitude of the north, entertainment in the south, or mist in the canyons of Lake Tahoe? Drop a comment with which trade-off matters to you most. After all, dodging crowds at sunrise only makes sense when the day ends with a quiet waterfall mist drifting against the volcanic cliffs. As always, if you found we really brought you the value today, please consider supporting us with a like and subscribe. We post links in the description below for all products mentioned. and post the very latest on all things hiking and adventuring as we show you where the wild things are. So grab your boots, fill your water bottle, and go chase those waterfalls. It's adventure time.